Hello, friends and followers. So, this is not really ham radio stuff. This is software, how to build C programs and programs. But people that are using Arduinos and such to automate some of the amateur radio tasks might be interested in how to make a C program or a C++ program or Python. Anyway, this is Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So, Microsoft had a Visual Studio out for probably 20 years. 25 years. It was complicated. It was for building Windows apps. And as Microsoft has more or less taken over the world and all the software with it, they made something simpler and more useful to, say, DevOps people, and that's called Visual Studio Code. And that's what I have up right now. So Visual Studio Code works by the process of extensions, and so the way you drive this thing is, and I'm working on Mac OS, so I'm working on an old version of Macintosh here, or Mac. And so the Mac, you can install a GCC compiler and all that. I think this thing comes with a CLang compiler, the Visual Studio Code. But at any rate, the way this thing works is you want to install extensions. So the way you drive this is over here. You basically use these little symbols to execute what you want to do. And this one here means extensions, so, or does it? Yeah, it does. Okay, so you hit this and there are some extensions. I'm not sure why this thing is saying it's invalid, but I'm not really using Terraform right now. Anyway, what I'm trying to do is use C and C++. So you want to install these extensions here. The C extension from Microsoft, install that, and extension pack and the themes. So the way you would do that is you just put C in here, C/C++, and then you can find your extensions. Of course, these come right up because they're installed. And once you get these in here, then you can begin to make a C program. So to do that, you would want to come up here, and this is more like an explorer where you're going through files and directories. And at any rate, I made a file, I made a directory called C-LDAP for a job I was applying for. And inside that, I put this C file, and so you can just do a new and have this C file in here, or you can change it to whatever you want. So double clicking on that, all I have here is a simple C file, and to run this file, you would hit the run key here. And it seems like this thing only runs things in a debug mode. So when you hit this, it'll compile it, and you'll see the terminal will come up. Now you'll see some files will pop up here. This is your C file, this is the executable, and that's the symbols file for the debugger. So those all popped on because we compiled it. You go to your debug console, and then you'll see that the file was used. If I would change this to another printf, say, you could add something else in here. And the weird thing is, it kind of comes up in VI, which I'm not sure why it does that, but the editor is VI, which I don't really want. And I think, okay, now it reverted to the usual editor, I think. No, it didn't. So it's still in VI. Anyway, we'll ignore that for now. And put something else in here. And see how that works out. So I've added something else new here, and we'll see how this works out. Any rate, I hadn't done C in a while, and I've never had the luxury of an IDE. Well, I guess I did a long time ago in school, but this is how things work these days. So we'll run this thing again, and look at our output here. So that's worked rather well, and it's counting new lines here. So now we can really work on, we've proved this worked. We can pretty much do anything we want. So that's pretty cool, and C has a main entrance point, statements, and then an exit point. Of course, now we can embellish this with functions and do whatever you want to do with it. So actually, it might be fun to try and make another program, or just try some stuff off the net and see what we can do with it here. So pretty sure now I can say kill that one off, and I want to make a new file here. So I would say, and I don't use this IDE that often, new file. No, let's see. How do I make a new file in this thing here? Explorer. Okay, I click on the directory here and say, oh, I think I want to say new file here. Okay, there. I want to add a file right here. And I'll call it, I call it Internet C or something. I'm not sure what we're going to put in here, but I'll say net C. Internet stuff.c. There we go, and that will appear there. Now, what I want to do is find some sample code on the internet and see what we can find here. Sample C code. And see what we can find here. Some long stuff, some big stuff. We don't want a hello. We want something that's long. At any rate, well, at any rate, I'm looking for something really long, and I remember doing this a while back. Let's see what this is. Well, that's sort of better. Would this work for our... I'm not sure what GSL is. So anything that's custom, with custom libraries that I've installed, this wouldn't work. So I don't have any GSL stuff here. So that wouldn't go. I want to find something long. Yeah, it's funny. Samples. So if I'm going to take a job doing C code, okay, that's something better. Let's see what this will do if we can just compile this. Okay, it's not very long. This is probably going to work. So yeah, I did compile in my last video the asterisk phone program, which is really huge. This one isn't so big, so let's see how this thing reacts. Okay, it does factorials. Well, that's fun. And it's showing no errors. Let's try to run this thing and see what it does. So, do we have anything here? Okay, so I know on a TI calculator I could put in 69 factorial, and that made it work pretty hard. Okay, that's interesting. It can't do it. So I haven't done much with this system. I'm on Mac OS, and not sure why it says that. Because the process is running. Not sure why it's doing that. Can we exit this thing with Control-C, kill it? Not sure. What if we do it again? Yeah, I'm not really sure how that works on this thing. That's the terminal. Output. Problems, no. Debug console. So, I'm not quite sure how I get input into this thing anyway. Filter text, no. That doesn't work out so well. Well, it looks like we can build programs, but I can't really put in input on this system, which is a shame. Let's see what else I can find here. Yeah, I did find some scientific samples once in C that were really cool. Okay, long. Sample code. Okay, that's using long data, but long C program. What could be calculated? What's that gonna do? The longest code I've written in C programming. Well, what did you write? So if you have a job and you get a job and they hand you C code, this is like a good example of taking C code from some unknown source, which we're doing now, and trying to make it work. So that is what we would do if I got a job in C. They would hand me C code and say, do something with it. So the first thing is to do is to capture the code and see if you can make it compile. And then you can modify it or rewrite it to suit whatever the job requires. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to erase all this stuff here, paste in this new stuff. And the first thing you do is make sure it can resolve everything it's trying to find. So you want to include all these things here, and those are all standard stuff. So it looks like he's passing in stuff from the command line. I'm not sure what this program does really, but this is how you would analyze it. Declaring some integers here. Okay, he's taking input here, and a D is decimal. Doing a test here, while test C minus minus. That's interesting. He gets more input. Weird. Looks like he's calculating something here. At any rate, not sure what this is doing or how useful it really is. Something about a pint. But will it run? Go back to debug console and what's going on here? Let's see. So I thought it looks like I gotta shut this down first. Let's see. Shut that down. So yeah, I'm probably not understanding how to run this thing on Mac OS with Visual Studio Code. So really now we need to debug how we get things in and out of this IDE under debug mode. So that's probably what I need to do. I still wouldn't mind finding a program that doesn't require any input from me. What do we have about that? C program, calculate pi maybe. Calculate something. Well, that's not very fun. That's a little better. That at least has a function in it, doesn't it? Let's try that one. So if you got a job programming C, this is really what you'll be doing, is learning how to build the program, learning how it works, and experimenting with it until you know it well, and then you can modify it and fix it. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Looks like I hit a strange key and knocked everything out. Let's do an undo, Control Z. And that didn't work out too well. So the problem is I don't know this IDE that well. And when you hit a bad key, you tend to break things. So I guess for a job interview, this isn't looking so good, is it? Let's run this program now. Looks like it did it. I'm still seeing this, and it looks like I haven't gotten rid of it. So what I might do is close this thing, hold down, and figure out why it doesn't work. Okay, it says running. Maybe these are all active and I gotta kill them. Let's see. Kill that one. Yeah, that's the ticket. So it runs all these things all at once. I'm not sure. Okay, because we're in debug mode. Yeah, I didn't really want to run debug on this thing, but it seems like it forces you to. Okay, so now if you just run one of these, debug console, looks like it ran. Well, anyway, it did calculate pi. So it did run the program. All right, that's probably enough. I just want to show that programs can be entered into Visual Studio Code. They can be run. We could probably set breakpoints in this thing also. And maybe I'll do that in the next video. Okay, I'm just trying to get this thing off to a recruiter to get me an interview with an end client. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.